Good afternoon. I'm Delphine Milo, broadcasting to you from the GBTA conference here in Brussels. Joining me today is Jason Long, SVP Global Business Development at HRS. Jason, thank you for being here today.
My pleasure, Delphine. Great to be back.
Yeah, how is the conference going so far?
It's good. I loved yesterday, the sustainability part, and today's more the conference proper, if you like. And yeah, lots of buyers, lots of providers, consultants, journalists. It's great. Yeah, thank you.
Absolutely. And talking about sustainability, GBTA and HRS released noteworthy new research this week on the progress of sustainable corporate lodging. Which finding stands out to you the most?
I think the finding that stands out to me the most is the focus on sustainability and getting data from the hospitality community, the hotel community, and what the corporates want to do with that. Right? And we see more and more that that's becoming mandatory. Corporates are asking for that. They're not necessarily doing anything to do with it, but I think that will change. And the example I always like to use, and I've used it many times before, so forgive me, is Siemens. I think they're very progressive. They're a pioneer because they are now enforcing to the hotels that they negotiate with, they are enforcing the need for that hotel to give them sustainability data and metrics relating to energy consumption, waste management, and also water consumption, the three elements that are really impactful to the environment. So Siemens are enforcing the hotels to give them that information so they can report on it. So you won't get in their program unless you're giving that information so they can then make more informed decisions and use that in their overriding corporate sustainability goals. I think that's the future. You saw from the research that there's only around about 7% of corporates at the moment who were surveyed who are actually not including hotels that don't give them the data. Yeah, so Siemens is in a minority. If we have the same conversation in another, let's say, 24 months, I think you'll see that completely flipped, and the vast majority will be doing what Siemens are doing today.
And you're supporting with that
We're
trend,
supporting
right?
that 100% with our HRS Green Stay initiative. In fact, what's really cool is when I was at GBTA in Orlando, 12 months ago exactly, I announced Marriott and Accor were part of the Green Stay initiative, so they're giving us their sustainability data. Today I'm happy to say that 7 of the leading 10 hotel brands globally have now fully enrolled and subscribed to this initiative, so we're getting all that data as well from the major brands and also many other regional and local hotels as well. Today we now have literally sustainability statistics from hotels in 170 markets globally and with over 400 hotel brands as well as independent hotels. So it's really taken off. We can see progression, and it's driven by the overriding need for data.
Okay, brilliant, Jason. So corporate groups and meetings are undergoing a transformation as our industry emerges from the pandemic. What trend does HRS see?
Wow. Yeah, it's actually one of the fastest growing parts of our business, the M&G events. People are getting back together again. What's interesting about events, though, when you look at it, around about 80% of them are smaller events and meetings, less than 50 people, and very similar. So what we're doing there is we're negotiating hard on behalf of our clients and using our entire global spending power for the thousands of clients we represent to get what we call MCR, which is meeting corporate rates. So a very packaged bundle of rates that include everything you would need for a meeting. So that's one thing, and we're automating the entire end-to-end process using our technology as well. These are repetitive meetings, smaller meetings, so we're trying to automate that as much as possible. We also see in the meeting space the hybrid working everybody's talking about. You know, people working remotely, but still need to get together every now and again with their colleagues as well. So we've also created a technology where you can put in the location of your employees, and when they want to get together for a meeting, we can look at the area and the destination and the hotel, not necessarily a hotel by the way, the venue I should say. We can look at the venue that makes more sense geographically, which is good for the environment in terms of sustainability and is more convenient for employees. It could actually be in the corporate's facility. But the chances are these days it's going to be in a third-party venue, especially as a lot of corporates are reducing their real estate. Like HRS has done in some markets. We've closed our offices and we've pushed people into remote working. doesn't mean that we don't need to get together, right? And that's where M&G and meetings comes in. So there's a lot going on in that space.
Okay, and so those trends are here to stay. Are we just see the patterns of working have completely changed post-pandemic?
They're here to stay. In fact, what's interesting, people always accuse the pandemic of being a catalyst for this. I've been remote working, hybrid working for over 10 years. I think what the pandemic did is accelerated what was inevitable. It was the digitalization of many meetings, the more mundane meetings or the meetings where you know the person very well, one-to-one meetings on Zoom or Teams or WebEx or whatever. But it's still thrown up a whole new opportunity. We also see a blurring now between commuting and business trips. You know, before the pandemic, you say, well, if I'm going to go to my HQ, it's a commute. And that's on the employee's dime, right? They paid for it. Now, with remote working, when you call the employee to the HQ, it's a business trip. Who pays for that now? It's the corporate. So we're seeing a graying there, but it throws up opportunity for everybody.
Yeah, and I do relate to this. We see a lot of these patterns in the way we work at GBTA. It's also translated in what you just described. And Jason, I do have one last question for you. Worries about inflation and recession dominate business conversations and forecasts for next year. How does HRS see this impacting business travel?
Well, undoubtedly it will, right? I mean, the whole business travel industry, as we all know here at GBTA, is intrinsically linked to GDP and inflation and the wider economic environment. You know, we live in a VUCA world, right? It's volatile, it's uncertain, it's complex, it's ambiguous. That's always going to be the case, right? So we have to cater for that. What we do see, specifically to answer your question, how is it going to impact business travel? Again, I mentioned it a bit earlier, the trend to digitalize, to automate. I heard it this morning, some of the keynotes on the main stage. Digitalization is key. Taking the mundane, taking the process out of business travel, be it from a traveler perspective or even in the back office with finance and accounts payable. If we can come up with technology that takes a lot of this process out, it's going to make everything more efficient, more transparent. We'll get access to data. We'll be able to make more informed, better, intelligent decisions on behalf of our clients. And I think the recession or the proposed recession that's coming and inflation will just accelerate that digitalization. We're seeing it with our clients.
Okay, so you're seeing the opportunity and the bright side in all of this.
Listen, Delphine, there's always an opportunity if you look hard enough, right? And we're quite good at that at HRS. So.
I love it. I love the optimism. Thank you, Jason.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm Delphine Milo, broadcasting to you from the GBTA conference here in Brussels. Thank you for tuning in.